I don't know what the point of this video is, my dear viewer. Hello, thank you for tuning in. However, I do want to say that with about 50 minutes until the shops open here at Yorkdale Mall in Toronto, which is essentially, I think, the 401 highway and some goddamn thing. Just say Yorkdale, yo. Yeah, so construction site, people all along because it's early in the morning. There goes my Tim-Hortons. Best coffee in the world apart from Juan Valdez, Colombian obviously. Like my bebe. I've been making a series of vignettes / moignettes on the existence of the supreme being. The so-called wajib al-wujud, as we say in Islam. The necessary being, the uncaused cause of everything, right? And I'm getting into all these fucking fights with people on Twitter. And I'm bent out of shape, obviously, because I don't know somebody like that. And she's not going down at me at this very moment. And all this kind of stuff. However, I was thinking of going to a Slipknot concert that is taking place. The problem with this time of the day, folks, it's like 9 in the morning, or to be exact, like 8:16 or some shit. Everyone's off to work, right? And everyone's like this. It's like I got thrown off a fucking transit train, my dear viewer. There's the concert. See that right there is a God move. I just talked about the Slipknot concert, and then like, here we go, concert. So God's saying to me, in my mind, you'd be like, oh, why do you believe in God? This is the kind of shit, why? Seriously. I believe in God not for any other reason than He works in my life. That's all there is to it. I fucking see shit like people can't imagine. Like, it's incredible stuff. And I'm not talking about that lady over there. Although that's not bad, lady. Keep it up. But the existence of the necessary being, I don't understand where there's an argument. So I'm talking to some guy who calls himself rational physical engineer, scientist / mathematical moron on Twitter. That's his handle. Actually, he's a really nice guy, and his handle is like papal engineer or some damn stuff like that. He actually explained very nicely to me in terms of numbers and all this kind of stuff. Well, the universe, blah, 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 4 billion years or 13 billion years ago, and it originated at a point, and all this kind of nonsense, and it's expanding in particulates and nanoseconds and all this stuff. And my whole thing is, fuck, man, that's great shit, man. Why? And then it's like, what? Why what? Why did the universe happen? Why? Something caused it, right? So I've got this thing, right? I guess it's this thing I have now. I thought it was a thing everybody had. It's called the law of causality. Causality. Freaking scientists, right? There are new overlords. Basically, it's like everything is cause and effect in science. That's all it is, right? So we're observing phenomena. It's like the sign is up there, right? Why doesn't it fall down? Well, we know, based on science, as in cause and effect, that it must be attached or some shit, right? I don't know, like, I'm getting carried away here. I told some guy on Twitter that it's all the law of causality, and therefore there must be an uncaused cause at the beginning of it. So, see, the thing is, the necessity for an uncaused cause is also, it's a necessary thing, but it's also an impossibility, because it doesn't make sense. So, God doesn't make sense, but He's also necessary. The existence of God. So first of all, let's just make it simple. Universe, where did it come from? It didn't come from a place in New York called Melville, which is where the luscious Rachel Dukas is from. And I don't give a damn if I'm invading her privacy rights. I'd like to invade far more than that, quite frankly. Good job, Timothy. The early bird catches the worm. But I got my coffee, so I'll be on my way. Wave, please. Damn Torontonians. Did you see that? And you should see the lady frowning behind me, who's thinking in her mind at this point, wow, what about my privacy? Privacy, my ass, you're out in public, folks. Right, and there are cameras everywhere. So, uncaused cause, right? People don't seem to get this stuff. I don't know if you can see me, dear viewer. You're going to have to see what you see. Because I'm sweating now. Getting worked up. Okay, this is what I say to the scientist. I say, Mr. Scientist, everything in science is cause and effect. This is what I'd like to say. If I had a chance to talk to Richard Dawkins, or when I have a chance to talk to that man, I'll ask him a simple series of questions. It's called the Socratic method. You essentially keep questioning the person until their position becomes untenable. Yeah, do you hear what I'm saying, viewer? What are you looking at over there anyway? It's just a guy reading his paper or something, or he's got his MacBook out or whatever. Listen to me. This is more important, dear viewer. Why is it necessary to think about what I'm about to say? Why is it even necessary to investigate whether or not there's a God? I mean from a rational perspective. That's all you can be asked to do, right? Well, let's suppose there is a God. Think about the fact of your preeminence on this earth and the earth's preeminence in as much as having life in the midst of whatever we see around us where there's no life, there's not even any water. They thought there was water on Mars, there's no water out there. Now, on the other hand, according to Islam, according to my belief, I'll be honest with you, we've been told there's 18,000 worlds out there. 18,000. They're out there somewhere. You understand what I'm saying? It's not about anything but rationality, okay? So let's just leave all that aside and let's ask, why is it necessary or important or whatever to think about the existence of the so-called, like my neighbor said, so-called imaginary man in the sky? I said God to him and he's like, oh, you believe in an imaginary man in the sky? And then when we're talking, I told him about how my boss got me fired or some shit, one of my bosses, and he's like, well, karma will get him. And I'm like, oh, so you believe in an invisible force? Don't you see, folks? He believes in the same thing I do. That's the thing right there. In any case, people say things like this, that God just created everything and just left it be and went away. Let me ask you a question. If you're a master goddamn craftsman and you spend some time or whatever it is, of course with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla, it's kun fayakun, be and it is. That's it. And arada shayan and yaqula kun fayakun. He's called the owner of be and it is. In fact, there's a very interesting tradition that we've been given by the family of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and his family. Like, I'm a Shia, so that's who we follow, right? The holy imams, like the Lady Fatima, peace and blessings of Allah be upon her, his daughter, and the imams from her progeny, and her husband, who is also the cousin of Prophet Muhammad, Imam Ali, peace be upon him. I know at this point I'm risking getting tossed out of this shithole, corner of this shithole mall, in this shithole city, but not shithole country. It's a great country. The city is great too, but for the people. Anyhow, why is it important to think of the existence of God? And then I was going on about some tradition. I can't even remember it at this point, dear viewer. But really the real answer is this, to give thanks. To give thanks. If you're a master craftsman and you build this beautiful thing, like you build cars, and one day after building one Fiat after another, or one Lada, or the crappiest car you can think of, after one day out of your workshop comes a magnificent Ferrari Testarossa or a Lamborghini. Now, would you just be like, okay, and then go on to the next one? You'd be like, this is the shit right here, right? So human beings, when you compare them to animals, we're so preeminent over animals. There's some people out there that even deny that. Right, so I mean, I don't understand. Like, I worked for a company called Active State, software company. We had an IDE, an integrated development environment. It's basically where a programmer does his programming. And this was Perl and Python and TCL, Tickle. Funny shit, huh? Tickle programming language, TCL, that kind of stuff. So Komodo was the name. Now, Komodo's an island, Indonesia or whatever, and they have Komodo dragons. And I'm talking to our chief support engineer, Jeff Griffiths. I don't mind saying this. I don't give a damn if I'm invading his so-called privacy or whatever. Hey Jeff, if you're out there, hold up, buddy. So he tells me, well, the Komodo dragon is just as proud of its breath as we are of our accomplishments. We're no different or better than it. On one hand, he's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. Like, we're just animals, essentially. In fact, most people are worse than animals, if you don't mind me saying so, dear viewer. And the whole thing is this, though. We're much better than animals, okay? And we're preeminent in ways that don't really deserve an explanation. But let me start by saying, hello, cities, cars, video games, everything around you, unless you're out in the wilderness. So, if there is a God, and he created all this stuff, and then suddenly there's man, why? The Quran says it. The Quran says it so well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala azza wa jalla says, does man think that he's been created and left to wander about without purpose? That's it. I'm just going to leave it at that. And you know what? I've pissed off enough people for now. I need to find some shoes. I actually got off like a stop early just to or late. I actually missed my my stop. I was trying to get to Lawrence West for what it's worth. And there's a shop around here called Zara, and they have some Docksiders. They have Sebago Docksider shoes, and I need those puppies. And that's where I'm headed, viewers. So if you like what I said, please comment. If you don't like what I said, please comment. If you're agnostic to commenting, then, well, don't be agnostic at least. All right, see you later.